Hey guys, welcome back. Monday Night Live with Robbie Craig of the Flip Flop Flipper. And tonight we are joined by Giancarlo Sarmiento. And I always butcher people's names, but hopefully I didn't do too badly on that. Guys, we're excited about tonight's live. We're going to be discussing the 98% of the island in Puerto Rico that is an opportunity zone and how you can come to the island, buy real estate, make huge returns as long as you keep something for 10 years. But also there's a caveat to this where Giancarlo is thinking of starting a business in the medical field. And it's very possible, guys, that businesses that are owned and operated inside of an opportunity zone, that they could 100x or even 1000x. And so we're going to get into that. Giancarlo, if you want to take some time and introduce yourself to the audience here and just let them know who you are, and maybe we'll talk about how we met, and then we'll just have a natural conversation for the next 45 minutes to an hour. Hopefully we'll get lots and lots of questions and we'll answer them along the way. Guys, it really helps us out a lot if you'll go ahead and hit the like button, hit that thumbs up for us on the way in. It really helps the algorithm to push this stuff out. And this is important information. This is something that maybe not a lot of people are aware of with these opportunity zones and wow, that was loud. And the ability to invest in these and make great returns and do some really good things on the island of Puerto Rico. So Giancarlo, welcome. Thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for having me, Robbie. I'm excited to be on here. And, I guess I'll start off by just introducing a little bit about myself. I'm a physician assistant. I've been practicing in New York for about 7 years now. Pretty much graduated the earliest that I could there. Over the past 3 years, started diving into real estate, doing, direct to seller marketing campaigns there. I'd say over the past 4 years, I've been really looking into or visiting Puerto Rico a lot because my sister ended up moving to Rincon, taking advantage of Act 60, going to the island probably like 3-4 times a year. Over the past 4 years, I'd say, I saw the growth, the new businesses, new constructions in the area, and pretty much just fell in love with the island. And I'd say over the past, few months looking into the real estate side of Puerto Rico, realized that it's much more difficult than the States, whether that comes to putting, valuation on properties and being able to speak with agents or getting reliable contractors. I found that to be quite difficult, and realizing that you have to be boots on the ground pretty much. But luckily I got introduced to or made aware of the mastermind, Puerto Rico mastermind. Recently went there probably 2 months ago, just recently, and got to meet some great people. Got to meet Robbie there, network a lot, and he gave a very good explanations on opportunity zones and the trajectory of Puerto Rico. So I'm pretty much dropping all operations and just going full on in Puerto Rico right now. And not only that, I mean, at the mastermind, they really went into opportunity zones and opportunity zone businesses. And one thing that I realized is that there's a huge demand for medicine in Puerto Rico. So right now, the path that I'm looking to take is to open up an urgent care and pretty much expand over the island.
Man, that is absolutely phenomenal. And I hope that you're a fan of the channel. I think you watch some of our videos, but yes, we really love to invite people like yourself to the island and just get the word out about the fact that there is so much actual opportunity. So we're going to talk about opportunity zones, but the amount of business and commerce that's going on and that is coming to the island after Maria, it's really an explosion in the economy, right? And so our channel is to spotlight Puerto Rico. We love to talk to entrepreneurs. We love to talk about real estate investing, but really we want to talk to anybody who's going to do something great for the island. And I think you're absolutely right. If there's a need on the island, one of them, a big one, is healthcare, right? So we have one of the oldest populations in the country, and while we do have great doctors and nurses and facilities, it does seem that we don't have enough. And one of the things you and I talked about offline last night is that we really don't have enough urgent care, or, an urgent care type situation that you're talking about where I'm from in Orlando, Florida. There's one on every damn corner, right? Like, you don't have to go to the emergency room to get care. You can go find great care at a bunch of different places, and then the urgent care spots can send you on to whoever you need to go to. You want to go through that business and how that business model works, and let's just if you'd give us an explanation about that, I think that would be helpful to everybody.
Yeah, of course. So I've been practicing in an emergency room for about 7 years now, right? So there was 1 or 2 years that I did practice at CityMD Urgent Care. I saw how they expanded in New York. They're doing amazingly as a business, not only as a business, but all the medical attention that they're giving, pretty much offloading the emergency room, right? I've had various conversations with people on the island and their experiences in the emergency room, between waiting hours and hours for an emergency apparently, but not getting the care that they need. Now it's something as simple as opening up an urgent care where somebody can walk in. They're coming in with chest pain, you need an EKG, we'll get that done in 30 minutes. You hurt your arm, you need an X-ray, we'll get that done in 30 minutes. Not only is that the service that Puerto Rico needs and the attention that Puerto Rico needs, but it's going to offload the emergency room, right? It's going to give the emergency room physicians the opportunity to really handle and spend the time that they need to with the true emergencies. Now, if we do come across, certain situations where they do need to go to the emergency room, we point them in the right direction, or at some way, with the context that we have, get them in touch with the specialist that they need.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I have a story that's similar to what you said. I had chest pains the first year I was here. I went to the emergency room over in Guaynabo, and I was there for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and never saw anybody. And, that just wouldn't happen in Florida. I'd walk into the emergency room, say, hey, I'm having chest pains, and I've had them before, and they would take me through, but the place was packed, right? It was just like they were overwhelmed. And so eventually I just checked myself out. I went home, and, this was early on. So I was like, oh, and subsequently I have found that there is great medical care on the island. And so very happy and very pleased with that. But that experience that I had, I think is common. Like you go to the doctor's office sometimes here, and it can be hours before you get to see the physician. So I think what you're describing is a business that is going to be received really, really well. Like that, this will be an exciting thing to see. And I don't think you're the only one who has this idea, but it's just nice to be able to hear about it and to talk about it with you. So let's talk about what your idea is and how it would work inside of an opportunity zone, and setting up an opportunity zone fund in order to invest in the business. I'm wondering things like, would you try to identify some real estate and buy the real estate and then build out the office? Or do you just invest in a business and go and rent a space in a mall or a strip mall or something like that? What, have you thought that through at all?
Yeah, so I've been kind of going through the logistics of it. I've spoken with Ashley, and he was amazing. He gave me some great guidance at the mastermind. And the conclusion that we had was pretty much we're going to be opening up the opportunity zone, business side, and then the opportunity zone of real estate, right? So the way that I see it is, I do want to include the real estate side of things, developing the commercial location for a good location for an urgent care. Another thing that I've considered is that, on the island, we have very limited physicians. And that's kind of a result of, as we've mentioned, the 10 plus years that Puerto Rico has been in an economic decline, physicians wanting to move to the States, for better pay or a better job. But I think that if we can set up a service where it's contract based, getting people from the States, such as physician assistants, MDs, get them contract work, let's just say 6 months or a year, bring them to the facility and even house them, right? Do some, some housing for them in, developing a real estate side of the project where we can do hospitality play. Let's just say we were to ultimately open up a 7-unit small boutique hotel, or house the PAs and the doctors there for their 6 months. But I think us being able to attract people from the States would be amazing. I think it would be incentive on their side, come to a nice, beautiful island, help the people out, provide the care that we need, while at the same time, we're utilizing the real estate aspect of things, but we're really also trying to really, 10x, as you mentioned, 50x, the urgent care side of the business and that potential.
Yeah. And so this medical tourism you're talking about, is that a thing in Puerto Rico at this point?
Yeah, so right now, they have opened up incentives for physicians to come to the island, basically incentivizing them with tax benefits. I'm from New York. I'm pretty much taking half of my paycheck and just depositing that to the IRS. But going to Puerto Rico, they're incentivizing physicians and giving them the opportunity to pay 4% in real estate taxes. I mean, in taxes in general.
Yeah, like a corporate tax.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. So you move from New York, you save basically 45% of your money. That's a pretty good incentive. And you get
yeah, if you ask me,
are you in New York City, or where are you living in New York?
I'm in Queens, probably like 15 minutes from the city. Okay. But if you ask me to be able to move to an island, beautiful, pretty much only get 4% on the tax side, it's kind of like a no-brainer, especially for contract work. It's very popular, especially in the States, for somebody to do locum services where, they're traveling to California, they're traveling to Texas, wherever it may be. Now, if we're introducing the opportunity to come to a beautiful island, I think that would do amazingly.
Yeah, I would say to be able to move to island paradise, you have a heritage that's part of that. Your mother's from here, and get out of Queens, which is kind of in the heart of it. I mean, that's pretty busy area there. That could be very attractive, and to invest into a business that you love anyway, and have the chance to 10x, 20, 100, 1000x, and 10 years from now, you're a young guy. You sell that business onto the next operator, and my God, you are set up for generations to come. Your entire family, it changes your entire life.
Yeah, I mean, from the business side of things, I think it's an ideal situation, right? We know that the demand is there for the medical attention. The social impact that it's going to have, actually having people not have to wait hours or spend a full day just to get their doctor's appointment. I think that that's going to be immense for the island. It's going to attract people. Even my girlfriend as well. She is a physician assistant. She also works in the emergency room. We've considered moving full time to Puerto Rico. And one of her concerns was just the medical attention in the area. And I think that being able to provide this kind of services is not only going to help the people, but it's also going to attract others and give them more comfortability to come to the island specifically.
Yeah, I love that. I do think that as the medical care improves here, it will encourage more people to come back to the island. People like yourself who have parents that are from here, or people who were from here and they moved away for opportunities in the States, and now they can come back to the island where there's a lot going on, and the social impact that happens through these opportunity zone investments, it's going to be massive. I mean, and many people don't know about opportunity zones and what they represent and why Puerto Rico is 98%. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit, how that happened. And briefly, what happened is after Maria, this opportunity zone fund started shortly thereafter, and because it was right after a hurricane, a disproportionate amount of the island got to be qualified as an opportunity zone. So in most places in the States, it's a very small demographic that the states got to place into the opportunity zones. Puerto Rico was in a crisis, and so almost the entire island became an opportunity zone, which is phenomenal because you can start these businesses and you can stay in compliance and you can take advantage of the great social impact that you're going to have all over the island, right? And if you are successful with your business, you start, let's say, in San Juan, and then you open up one, and then it becomes 10, and then it becomes 100 island wide. They're all inside of the opportunity zone. You stay in compliance, and it's going to be impactful for the entire island, and it's just going to be something that you can't do in other places. Like if you were to try and do this business where you're from in Queens, there is probably a part of Queens that's an opportunity zone, and you could start an urgent care there. But it would be very hard for you to scale to 100, right? Because you just wouldn't have enough landmass to open up the different places and stay in compliance. So it's really, really exciting stuff. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with my headphones here.
No problem.
There.
Going to the mastermind, it really was eye-opening. Going to the mastermind, it was really eye-opening for me. When it comes down to 98% of Puerto Rico being an opportunity zone, even touring when we went to the mastermind, seeing your projects and seeing how lively the streets have become after you opened up your Airbnb. Remind me again, where was the location that you opened up your Airbnb?
Oh, so yeah, the one on the bus tour was in Luquillo, the surfing turtle, it's called. Yeah.
So, I mean, seeing that really opened up my eyes, because you started seeing the development of, other housing in the area, people taking care of their properties in the area, businesses opening up, coffee shops opening up. You really start to see the impact that investing in opportunity zones can have. And in the real estate mastermind that we had, I realized that not only is there the incentives to invest in opportunity zones between being able to defer your capital gains, but deploying that capital into the fund, holding that for a specified period of time while having its appreciation, and 10 years from now holding that down and not having to pay capital gains at that point. It was just a no-brainer for me.
And not only that, but you're doing good for the community. You're creating really high-paying jobs as well. So, and part of investing in opportunity zones is, by the way that it's written, you have to have the social impact, otherwise you don't qualify. So you have to create jobs. You have to be doing a business that's beneficial to the community, right? So, in other words, you couldn't come in and start a sin business or a casino or a brothel or something and get these tax credits. So it has to be something that's doing good for the community, creating jobs, and that's what your idea is. That's what your business model is going to do. So it's really perfect. It's a perfect idea for investing in, and you can own the real estate underneath it. And anybody who's invested in real estate knows, and I'll use this example, McDonald's sells burgers and they do a really good job at selling hamburgers quickly, but the way that they've become so valuable is because they own the real estate underneath of the burger shop, right? And so you can, in theory, do the same thing, and it's going to be phenomenal. So
yeah. Then that's kind of the plan. I mean, ultimately, what I'm envisioning is, multiple urgent cares across the island, having a real name for ourselves, being able to develop relationships with other physicians on the island as well, and trying to take advantage as much as possible with the opportunity zones, one, but also the tax credits that come with investing in the real estate side of things, and being able to utilize those returns and push it into the next project. And not only that, even getting the incentives of them being able to cover marketing costs, cover certain wages. There's just so much that goes into it. Puerto Rico is like we mentioned, they're injecting 60 billion into the island, and they're doing it for a reason. And the way that I see it is, this is the beginning of a very long journey, and just a huge amount of growth for Puerto Rico.
Yeah, we almost have nowhere to go but up, right? Like, so the 10 years prior to Hurricane Maria, it was devastation, right? Like, so the world went into the financial crisis, and unfortunately, Puerto Rico never came out of it, right? It happened a little bit later for the island, but from around 2008, 2009, commerce kind of stopped, building kind of stopped, like new homes weren't being built, businesses weren't being opened. It was slow, it was hard, and there was a mass exodus, right? Like, so there were a lot of talented people that left the island during this 10 or 12 year period of time. And now post Maria, and through opportunity zone investing, and through this money coming to the island to, fix things like infrastructure, roads, power grid, all of that, it's inviting people back to the island and giving them some opportunity, where now, as young people are graduating from college and going into the workforce, there really is a lot going on the island, and they no longer need to leave the island to go to Queens or to Miami or Orlando in search of opportunity. There's plenty of stuff going on the island here, and you can see it. I mean, you were just here a couple of weeks ago, and you said you're coming 3 or 4 times a year. So have you actually seen it? Because I've been here for 5 years, and I can look at it and see when I fly in the different how it looks from above and how it looks as I drive around the island. So I'm curious to know if, as you come to the island 2, 3, 4 times a year, if you can actually see how things have changed over the last few years.
I have, and honestly, that was the thing that drove me to really want to just really focus on Puerto Rico. Every time I came, I just felt like there was a new business that was opening up. There's a new construction villa opening up, and I just felt like this is that time, this is that opportunity to really get boots on the ground, really figure out the systems, and put our money to use to invest onto the island. I think it's going to be amazing. My sister herself, she also opened up a coffee shop on the island, and I've seen just the impact that she's had on the small little portion block that she's on. And
well, let's give her a plug. Where's her coffee shop?
her coffee shop's in Rincon, Isla Made. If you go there, you can buy some goods. She has amazing coffee. I'm super proud of her. You should definitely check it out.
All right. Yeah, we love Rincon. Is like my happy place on the island. There's just a different vibe there. So when we've got some property there, when we get there, I'm instantly relaxed. And San Juan, I don't want to compare it to like New York City because it's not, but San Juan is a fairly big city. Then you get into Rincon and it's just, there's an instant kind of relaxation that kind of happens there. I love it. So that's great. I'll try and check her out next time I'm over there in Rincon.
You should. And you're entirely right. I mean, coming from New York, working in the emergency room where it's so hectic, it just feels like a different world when you go out to the Rincon.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the stress level that you guys go through in the emergency room in New York City or Queens, and then to come to Puerto Rico and you're not having to go through that, and you're in Rincon, maybe hanging at the beach, surfing or whatever. That's got to be quite an appealing feeling.
Yeah, I definitely need it. I mean, even the past few years in the emergency room, working through COVID, just the volume that's been coming in as we started opening up everything, it's been pretty difficult on the emergency rooms, and that alone also shows like how important it is to start setting up these urgent cares. We have urgent cares here in New York. You can go 10 blocks down and pass an urgent care. But even then, our emergency rooms are so full to the point where people are waiting hours and hours. I can only imagine what is happening on Puerto Rico specifically.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a much needed business. So let's talk about the real estate side of things. So you're not only are you working in the ER, but you also have a passion for real estate, and you were doing some stuff stateside, and now you're saying that you're going to put your focus in real estate in Puerto Rico. Tell us what you've done in the past, and I know you're kind of new to real estate, but let's get into your background a little bit and talk about what you've done and what you might expect to do here besides starting the urgent care.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I mean, I've been practicing for 7 years in the ER, but I'd say over the past 3 years, started putting more of my attention into real estate. Started listening to Bigger Pockets, listening to the podcast there on my drive to work. Then eventually started doing direct to seller campaigns between text message platforms and cold calling. As you mentioned, I'm more so of a newer investor. I have a few contracts right now in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania specifically, and from right now, Miami real estate. We have a listing there. I also am working on a short sale, 2-family over here in New York that I'm hoping to acquire shortly. But I'm pretty much looking to discontinue those operations right now. I just feel like it's the right time to just start putting all my time and attention into Puerto Rico at the moment, building relationships with agents, networking with investors like yourself on the island, and getting to know contractors as well, because I know that's one of the biggest difficulties in Puerto Rico at the moment.
Man, you must have just a ton of energy to be able to have a full-time job and then be chasing down real estate in different states and thinking about coming to Puerto Rico. I love it. I mean, so to me, that's a sign of a very talented person. Anytime you want something to be done, go to the busiest guy you know. They're the ones who can usually get it done. So good for you. That's great. Yeah. I love the thought process that you have. I had that thought process about 5 years ago where we decided to come to Puerto Rico. We felt like the money goes further. There was just a safer ability to invest and do more good, quite honestly, right? Like, so there's more absolute, apparent, easy to find good deals in Puerto Rico. Even though everything else is harder, Like, it is harder to find good contractors. It is harder to run comps and be certain of what something's going to sell for and things like that. But it's always worth it. It's a great time to be coming to Puerto Rico. I say it like this. I believe it's a 2012 real estate market. And then you couple that with opportunity zones and bringing your business here, man, it really, I expect that it's going to be life-changing. So I'd be interested in investing through my Opportunity Zone fund into your business. So that's something that is really exciting to me. We already invest heavily in real estate and businesses that are tied to our real estate. But to find someone like yourself who's passionate about something, who's got a good plan and can work their ass off and get it done, I think there's a great opportunity for you to invite people to invest in things like this and for them to expect super high returns. Like, it's far better than just a 10x on real estate over here. So this could easily be 100x or 1000x type stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know if
as
you
I
thought
mentioned,
that through or if you're.
I have. I working at City MD, I saw how much they expanded. They opened up City MD literally 2 blocks from here. It's just they're opening up just an immense number of locations. And the way that I see it, I think the demand is so high all over the island that I think each urgent care would be successful. But it's really, I want to turn it into a business where we're opening up multiple chains, that we're the go-to on the island. We want to be within a 30-minute radius of everybody pretty much. And then incorporating, there's the difficulties, there's the challenges of it when it comes down to, insurances, whether, cash transactions. I've looked into the competition. A lot of them are just offering concierge services with like a yearly fee and then payments per
Yeah.
each visit. I don't know how beneficial that is, but the way that we're looking at it is we do want to provide that concierge service, but we really want to entail also the insurances and also help the local people out as well. There's variable locations, even near Condado, Dorado, and I'm sure that they would have the capacity, to pay cash for these certain things. But the ultimate goal is to really be able to provide the care to everybody, not just,
Sure.
specifically them. And I think implementing the insurances, opening up practices within everywhere within a 30-minute radius, I think it's going to be extremely successful.
Do you have a business plan already kind of in the works? And will you or will you shortly have something like that you're going to be interested in sharing with people? Is there a way that we could help you by getting this business plan out there?
Yeah, as of right now, it's more of the due diligence period. It's not an easy thing to open up, and it definitely is going to require a lot of work. I'm currently working with Ozworks. I'm looking to pretty much establish a solidified plan, and it's a little bit trickier than just developing up an urgent care in the States, because we're trying to take advantage of all the incentives, right? When it comes down to the opportunity zones, and just general even hospitality plays, and trying to capitalize as much as possible with all the avenues that we can. And I think once we have that map, I think that's when everything's going to be set in stone. And ultimately, we are definitely looking to, raise some capital there. So I would appreciate you and your opportunity fund doing that.
Well, and so I'd invite anybody who's watching us, leave a comment in here that you're interested in hearing about this, and we'll try and connect you guys with Giancarlo in the future as he gets closer to coming to the island with his business plan in hand. So as you were saying that, and you're talking about, and you didn't say it this way, but combining the opportunity zones with the tourism tax play, that's something that we really like to do. We feel like that's a great scenario. And so I just pictured in my mind, you find a mixed use building, you put the urgent care on the bottom, and you build a hotel on the top 2 or 3 floors above it, and you get Act 60 tourism tax credits for that. Now you can invite people to the island to come and get care and stay in the hotel above. Is that sort of something that you had envisioned as well already?
Yes, that's definitely in the works. What I was hoping to do, utilizing those tax credits, even getting, the 30 or potentially 40%, return on that investment via the tax credit, and then utilizing that after the first year into opening up the next urgent care. I'm looking to really streamline it so that it's something that, you could keep the ball rolling and go on to the next one and the next one.
Well, we'd love to help you find some of those, and maybe I've got one for you, so we can talk about that offline. But yeah, there are buildings like that, I think, in every town here on the island, and I think that your business model would work, man, just so well. It's really fun to think about, and to think about the kind of good that you can do, and then the fact that you can, build generational wealth and make money for yourself while helping a community. I mean, all of this stuff is exciting to me. That's kind of why we do this channel. I mean, we don't always talk about opportunity zones, but we do a lot. And we don't always talk about the hospitality stuff, but we are heavily invested in it. And anytime we can meet someone who's interested in like these kinds of things, we like to think about partnerships and try and figure out through our community how we can put different people together. So we're completely in, right? So I want to see your business plan when you're ready, and would love to help by introducing you to some people that maybe we've met along the way. And I think it's a very exciting, dynamic product that you're talking about. Shouldn't be hard to raise money for. You're going to change people's lives. You're going to do great stuff. So
I appreciate that, Robbie. I really do.
So what else would you like to talk about with us, and anything that you maybe would want to ask about us, about the island? So you're coming 3 or 4 times a year, but we're living here. Maybe there's some things that you've thought of that maybe I could help to lead you or show you, introduce you to people. How could I help you?
Well, let me ask you, I mean, how did you find the process of opening up your Opportunity Zone Fund? And I know that you've partnered with people as well, and raising their capital in itself. How did you find that?
Yeah, it's brand new for us too, right? So opportunity zones are new to everybody, but I have spent a lifetime or a career of not being a fund type guy. Before we got to Puerto Rico, we invested in things and we partnered with a select few people. And so opening up a fund has been a fun, exciting next chapter, and combining opportunity zones with hospitality plays in A+ areas on the ocean. That's what we're passionate about right now. And we have found it to be amazing. So I've got a great team. You met Ashley Tyson at the Mastermind. He's a business partner of mine, and I believe he's the guy. He's the opportunity zone expert of all experts. So at Ozworks, you talked about them. They're a great source, great resource. And starting that, and we've raised about 10 million of a $17 million equity raise. So having never done it before, we own 5 assets inside of the fund. So it's been going phenomenally well. And I have to say this, ever since I've come to Puerto Rico, things are difficult, but they always are worth it. And it goes overall super well for us. So this has been an exciting time. And you're in for a fun time of it when you come. I think you're going to enjoy it. The amount of collaboration and the amount of talent that's here on the island in Puerto Rico, this is next level for me. I've never seen anything like it. And where you're from, I suspect it's like where I was from. People start businesses and they, not that you're enemies or not friendly with people who are in business, but you don't collaborate a lot. But on the island of Puerto Rico, there's just so much talent and people like to work together. And so that has been, for me, something that's been really exciting about coming to Puerto Rico, the amount of collaboration that happens. And I routinely can go to an event like Uncommon Entrepreneurs or the Mastermind and just meet really super talented people who are like-minded, and then try and figure out how to put a deal together. And so that to me has been exciting and really worth it, right? So I think that I'm here. I think God put me here and I'm in the right place at the right time. And anytime you're able to say that about wherever you're at, things are generally good, right? So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
No, it did. And one other thing that stood out to me, I mean, like you mentioned, being able to work with others and really streamline this Opportunity Zone Fund and business. I realized also coming to the island that there's just so much opportunity. You know, coming from New York, not seeing as many distressed properties and potential vacant lots, and I just feel like going over to Puerto Rico, you kind of have like shiny object syndrome, where you're just like, oh, that looks nice, that looks like that can do well. Oh, that's nice, that looks like that can do well. It's almost hard to kind of hyper fixate on something and really keep that going.
When I first came to the island, that was exactly my experience. I was like, oh my God, that looks great. Oh, this I got to do. And I'm, getting pulled in so many different directions. And we sort of over the last few years have found our focus, and we're moving into and are heavily invested into this hospitality play. But that wasn't what we came here for. I tell everyone that will listen, come to Puerto Rico. There's opportunity everywhere, and anything you start will be successful. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but for a while there, the Walmart over in Carolina was the most well-performing Walmart in the world, was in Carolina, Puerto Rico. And it's the same with the Sam's Club, the Costco's, and the Home Depots. I mean, business after business will say, hey, the commerce there is just incredible. And that's even during a time when the island was suffering and was in a recession. So that now, as we're starting this rocket ship economy on the way up, if you start a business when we're down here and it continues up, you can just think about the kind of success, the levels of success that you can obtain. So do we have any questions, Adon, that people have put in the box? And can we answer any questions, guys? If you're out there, let us jump into questions.
Yes. So if you guys have any questions, please ask them in the chat. They're about to start getting answered. So here's a good one. Great mindsets. I think Puerto Rico has the potential on what you guys want to accomplish. I'm a realtor in Florida, and I'm looking to relocate to PR and navigate the real estate world over there. Do you have any suggestions for her? Her name is Maevely Mendes.
Hi, Maevely. Yeah, awesome. That's amazing. So I also come from Florida, and highly encourage anyone who's thinking of moving either to Puerto Rico or coming back to Puerto Rico. If you have families here and you've gone away for opportunity, we use this channel to just kind of yell from the rooftops, hey, Puerto Rico's open for business. Come back. Let's do something great together. And if you're successful in Florida and you come back to Puerto Rico, you're going to have similar success. It's going to be amazing. So thank you so much for reaching out.
How about you, Giancarlo? You got something for her?
Yeah, I mean,
to the island.
Yeah, of course. I mean, for me, I found it, as I mentioned, very difficult to, get valuations on properties. And I really felt like I needed to be boots on the ground. What I would recommend is trying to network with as many people as you can over here, speak to other agents, get a feel for it, and network as much as you can, even when it comes down to speaking like people like Robbie or coming down here to the masterminds. I think that's going to be your best bet. You're really going to learn the most from that.
That's awesome. Let's move on to the next one. Hi, how can I invest in properties in PR? So Margie, I put in the chat our email, and we'll put it here for everybody. Anybody interested in information or trying to get a hold of us, you can either go to the description, or we'll put our email up here so you guys can reach out and ask your questions there about investing in Puerto Rico, or comment here. We'll answer them now.
Yeah, and also if you send us an email, TheFlipFlopFlipperPR@gmail.com, we'd love to connect with you and help in any way that we can. So
Wave in front of that camera, because it's
what?
Just keep doing your thing.
And are you guys? Were you able to hear Adon speaking, Giancarlo? When he
Yes,
okay.
It was.
Because I can't hear you at all in the headphones.
Does that these headphones?
Got it. Okay.
All right, moving on. Sorry. I started investing in real estate in 2016 when properties were cheaper, and I love it. Well, Ivan, that's awesome. We're excited for you. Reach out to us. We would love to see how we can partner and make this island better with you.
Man, I can't even imagine. So you started in 2016. You really had some vision there. And I would imagine it's been very fun to watch things improve over the last, 6-7 years now. Great job. Way to go.
All right.
One thing also, just going back to that thought in 2016 investing is, I know you mentioned this a lot, Robbie, when it comes down to where we are in like a general timeline. We've seen the market go down, but, past 2011, 2012, we're kind of at that point when it comes down to Puerto Rico and how much you've seen how much has happened since 2016. Just imagine what's going to happen over Puerto Rico over the next 5 years. Not only that, I mean, we've seen what has happened when, the government has provided stimulus to the mainland, right? Since COVID, how much we've appreciated. Now, just imagine Puerto Rico, where we have all this money being injected into the economy and what's going to happen there. To me, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, I don't even think many people can fathom what has happened. The sheer amount of cash that's come from the bailout after Maria, or from insurance money, or from people leaving oppressive states like California and New York, where the government is taking half of their money or more and bringing their expertise and their businesses to the island. And this isn't a big island. We're talking about 100 miles by 35 miles, right? So it's pretty small geographical space. It's only a few million people. This amount of kind of money and commerce that's coming to the island, it's going to cause great things to happen. It's like, the way I see it is that you just almost can't stop it. It doesn't matter right now if the states go into a recession or have this inflation. We have something that has started that it would be really hard to slow us down. Not to say that it can't happen. They say that if the states get a cold, then the Puerto Rico gets the flu, and that's probably still true in some sense. But man, it's an amazing amount of cash and talent. It's not just the money, but it's the talent. It's you, Giancarlo. It's people like you that are coming to the island, or who are coming back to the island with ideas and energy and passions. I mean, it's just going to improve things. It's amazing, and it's a lot of fun to watch. When I first came to the island, there was nothing being built. There wasn't one crane on the island, or maybe there was one crane building something on the entire island. Now in San Juan, they're everywhere. And now in San Juan, you're seeing, building after building is getting fixed, and businesses are starting every day. You said it earlier, you're coming 3 or 4 times a year, and you can see every time you come more and more and more businesses. Your sister started a coffee shop in Rincon. I mean, this is just exciting stuff for me. This is what's so much fun for me.
Yep.
Any other questions that we can pop up there?
Great ideas. We desperately need better medical care. How can we invest in such a great idea? So let them know, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now the things are in the works, and ultimately the opportunity is going to be coming around to invest into it. We're definitely looking to set up the Opportunity Zone business, and when that becomes available, we'd love to talk more. If you are also looking to invest just in general in Puerto Rico, Robbie has his own fund, and I'm sure he could speak more on that.
Yeah, well, our fund is hospitality based. Your fund's probably a little more important to the island, and I'd rather focus on you and your fund. But as you build something out, I hope that we'll have you back, and that we will be able to show people your business plan and help you to raise some money. And of course, guys, if you want to invest with us, leave us an email at TheFlipFlopFlipperPR@gmail.com, and we're happy to talk to anybody who's excited about Puerto Rico. In general, if this is something that I've said now for almost 5 years, if you're thinking about coming to Puerto Rico, if you're thinking about investing in Puerto Rico, moving to Puerto Rico, or just visiting Puerto Rico, don't think too long, too hard. Just do it. Come. You're going to enjoy yourself. It starts as soon as you land on the plane, and the whole crowd goes wild. It's freaking amazing. And that has been my experience. And every time I can convince someone to come to the island, I've never once had someone, when they're leaving, saying, "Oh man, you've really led me astray, Robbie." It's not that way. It's just a beautiful place. There's lots going on. So I highly encourage, get involved. come to the island, come check it out. It's well worth it. So yeah.
So he's asking, which area do you live in Puerto Rico, and how long have you been on the island? He's new to the group, and he's got some good questions going down. So
yeah, sweet. So currently I live in downtown San Juan, Santurce area. Been here for 5 years. So right in March, it'll be 5 years. We came for the first time at Christmas 2017, right after Maria, and the lights were still out. And like Giancarlo's, when I first came to the island, I really just saw so much opportunity. It didn't take me very long at all. I fell in love almost instantly, and I flew home right after New Year's, knowing that I was gonna do what you said earlier, Giancarlo. I'm gonna stop my business, or I cut off like most of my business in Florida and concentrated on starting a brand new business in Puerto Rico. So, and it has been worth it every step of the way. So just the best business decision I've ever made, a great decision for my family. Everything about coming to Puerto Rico has worked out really well.
So he asked some questions. Top 3 steps to invest in PR. So what would be your top 3 steps?
Well, I think I'd need some more information, and maybe he can maybe you can put that in the chat there. What kind of investing are you talking about? Are you looking to invest in a business like we're talking about? Are you looking to buy a rental property, or are you looking to buy something, fix it up, and sell it? Oh, you're a realtor. Okay. So then I think you'd probably lean more towards buying single family or small multifamily houses, fixing them up, and then selling them to FHA buyers. And we have a housing shortage on the island. So anybody who's watching this channel, guys, there's opportunity here. There's houses that have been forgotten. There's foreclosures, bank-owned properties. And it's very apparent when you come to the island, you can pretty quickly find realtors who can give you lists of properties. Go look at them. Be value add investors. So buy something that's distressed, make it so that it's beautiful and not distressed, and put it on the market. And this is a dream scenario, because you're improving something along the way, and you're also filling a need, right? Like these houses that I'm talking about aren't livable. So you can buy something from the bank, fix it up, and sell it, and you've got built-in buyers. You have Puerto Rico has one of the largest homeownership ratios in the entire country. So people want to own homes, and they just need houses that can be bought through the first time home buyer programs and things like that. So I would say come to the island and start looking at houses and buy stuff that you can be a value add investor on, and there is going to be great success for you.
Moving on. Are there any lenders stateside that would give money for Puerto Rico?
Wow, Breeze, that's a great question. We need liquidity on the island. It would be amazing for the island to get things like bank lending on small multifamilies and commercial properties. And we talk about it a lot. And that product just really doesn't exist here on the island in the same way that it does back in the States. And that's sort of uncommon. Like Puerto Rico had great lending programs up until about 2008 or 9. And when it comes back, it's going to unlock another pile of money, right? Like, so there's a bunch of people who invested cash into properties, and their money's locked up because they can't go to the bank and get the loans. So this stuff is about to change. If we didn't enter this inflationary period in the States, it was like programs were being turned on, and then that it all stopped as everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen in 2023. It's a weird time back in the States. With are we going into a depression, or are we going to have this hyperinflation, or are we just going to get things under control like the government's trying to do, and then they're going to lower interest rates and everything's going to skyrocket again? Man, if that happens, watch out. If we get liquidity on this island, watch out. It's going to really free up some capital. So that would be super exciting. I can't tell you who these stateside lenders are that would come to the island, but I believe they are going to come, right? Like, so they were just about to show up. Maybe one or two of them landed on the island, and then things got tough back home, and they pulled the reins in a little bit. But I think that'll change really rapidly as soon as things improve back home. As soon as they even stabilize, it doesn't even matter if they get a lot better, because things are great on the island.
Moving on. Are Airbnb still a viable investment since there's so many already on the island? I think you've got a good answer for that.
Yeah, of course. I think Airbnbs are a viable opportunity, and if you buy things right. Sorry. Why is Airbnb so viable? So, and I invest in hospitality, which is a step above Airbnb, right? Like, so we're using Act 60, and Giancarlo, you talked about doing that too, even with a business where you would combine something into like a guest house or something like that and have a business underneath it. Airbnbs, hostels, small hotels, and anything else that's in the tourism business is viable on the island, because we're planning as an island to go from like 6% of the GDP to over 15%. I mean, that's the stated goal, and they're looking to increase the amount of hotel rooms and the amount of hospitality rooms on the island from what it is today, which is maybe 16 to 20,000 doors, to like 80 or 90,000 doors, right? So yeah, I mean, I just see this hospitality it's a growth industry. This has never been the way that Puerto Rico has made its money before. It was manufacturing and all of these other things that are still here, and so it was kind of suppressed. And now there has been a shift, and so I see it as something that absolutely can make money. Now, be careful, because you don't want to be buying things based on what they're going to be worth as an Airbnb. We talk about this on the channel and some of our long content, some of our shorts. I say buy it at a distressed office and then turn it into something that's got a higher and better use. And that's a much safer investment than going and buying an existing Airbnb at full value of what it's worth on the cash flow through the Airbnb. I hope that answers your question.
I also just wanted to comment. I mean, I think it's great that you mentioned that we're looking to increase the tourism from, I think you mentioned 6% to about 13%. I also love the fact how Puerto Rico is in itself investing into their airports. I think I read something just this week that they're looking to put about 150 million, don't quote me on that, into Aguadilla Airport. And they're looking to expand the locations that people can fly in from, making it much easier to travel one way, not have to go stop at a certain location and then come here. So once you kind of open that door to the rest of the world, I think that it's only going to increase the tourism. And I think Airbnbs will do amazing. But as Robbie said, getting them at a reasonable price.
And during the COVID, people discovered, once they were able to travel, Puerto Rico is part of the United States of America. So you can come here without a passport. You use the dollar, and people want to travel. It's not super inexpensive to be here, but it's also not as expensive as going to Europe. There's not as much involved with it. And so there is a lot to do on the island. There's beauty everywhere you look here. And it's exciting to see that people in the States have sort of heard about and realized that coming to Puerto Rico, that's something that you can do quite easily. You don't have to, 60% of the people back home don't have a passport, and they can still travel to the island. They can't go to Europe without a passport, but they can come here. So there is lots of reason to believe that tourism is going to become a major part of the economic growth of the island.
I live here in Puerto Rico. How can I invest? I think he wrote can't, but he meant can. So how can Omar get into investing?
Yeah. Omar, so everything that we've talked about today is open to locals and expats, or people from the States, or whatever you want to call them, or Puerto Ricans who moved back to the States for opportunity can come back and take advantage of. But anybody can. So if you lived here and you have worked here your whole life and you want to invest into these opportunity zones, you can research it. You should research it. I believe it's the greatest wealth builder of our lifetime. Businesses are going to be started inside of these zones, and they are going to make people a ton of money. It's going to change people's lives. Investing in opportunity zones is something that, through the way that the law is written, it's forced to do good in the community, right? So that's part of why you would invest in this way. So opportunity zones are available to locals. Act 60 tourism is available to locals. Other parts of Act 60 are also available to you, Omar. You can have an export service business. If you're younger than 35, you can become a young entrepreneur and make your first $500,000 tax-free. And all of these things are available. So Puerto Rico is extremely business friendly right now. And at this period in time, Puerto Rico is extremely business friendly to both people that are coming off island and people that are on the island. So, and I think that the government unfortunately does a really poor job of letting locals know that these things are available to them. Do you have any thoughts on that, Giancarlo?
I do. I mean, going to the mastermind, I only found one person that was an agent from the island. I don't know if there was another one, but I just kind of felt like there should have been more from the island. I would love to see people from the island, agents, native Puerto Ricans that are getting more involved in the real estate side and learning more about these things. Because I personally, I am Puerto Rican. I would love to see the people benefit from this, and I think that there are opportunities. It needs to be more. It needs to be introduced more to them.
Yeah, and getting the word out. I mean, that's again part of the reason that we do this YouTube channel stuff, is to just let people know about it. It started out with me letting people that were investing with me back in Florida know what I was doing here, and it's evolved into something where I just feel like I'm happy to brag about and cheerlead this island and everything that's going on, and entrepreneurs like yourself that are going to come here and just do amazing things. I mean, this is so much fun for me. And Omar, another thing that I would say is that if you follow the channel at all, we're going to set up some type of a community where we can talk with each other and share knowledge with each other. So either through a WhatsApp or Don, where will we put this? And this is something that we're trying to build right now over the next 30, 40, 60 days. We're going to build a group and invite the community in to participate.
So we're going to have private WhatsApp groups and a private Facebook group. So that way, all these questions, for example, like Omar, who's looking to see where to start, we want to try to guide you in the right steps to get your first deal and get the mindset and all the knowledge to work around the Puerto Rico real estate market. So look out for that, guys. We'll have that soon. So let's continue with the questions here. We have a couple more questions, guys. So last questions now. Anybody else, put them in the chat. And from there, we'll go and call it a day. All right. So this gentleman came back. Buy to flip. How to find responsible contractors while living in the state. So I guess this gentleman lives in the States and wants to find somebody responsible here that could run a project.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a couple different avenues for that.
Yeah, I think this is a great question. And this is something that anybody is going to want to be thinking about it. So if you're in the States and you want to invest on the island, how can you safely do that? And we've said that things are harder here. It can be harder to find good people to show up. It can be hard to find people to drive the project. My recommendation here is to do what we've done: partner with locals. Partnering with locals who are in the business, you're blessing them and they're blessing you. It's an amazing way to go. So I I would say, how do you find these people? Put the word out. Go in. There's several chats. There's lots of Facebook groups, but just go out and tell people what you want to do. This is my MO. I first, before I think like Giancarlo's, before I actually do something, I tell people, hey, I'm going to go to Puerto Rico and I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this business, and I start telling people, and then you will naturally have people who reach out to you and say, hey, I think that's a great idea, and try and find locals that you can partner with. I think, Adon, you could be one local that wants to partner with someone who's got some money, and you have contacts, you have a crew on the island, and you're here, and you're a hard worker, and you're a trustworthy guy. So possibly it's even Adon, or you could partner with PR consultants or Giancarlo's even. So that's my recommendation there.
100%, guys. If you're looking for contractors and stuff like that, or trying to find somebody, again, reach out to us in the email. We'll put it up at the end here. Reach out there and your questions and how we can get in touch with you, and we'll try to help you out as best as possible. So going on to the last stuff, I don't think these are questions, but it's more just like pats on the back. So we have from Mariah. Bravo, Giancarlo. That's awesome. Thank you. Your vision for healthcare is so important and it's truly needed.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah.
Maria said, yes, I would love that. That's awesome, Maria. And Chai says, best of luck. Thank you, Chai. And then I think we got a last question, and let's help this gentleman out. So BK says, what is a resource to read more on the acts and initiatives list? We have incentives list, and we have a dream of decarbonization. Did I say that right? Through soil regeneration, as PR is a good desert. That was a loaded question there. We'll take it by steps.
Yeah, you know what? We should try and find some articles and post them, and so we'll do that with the group that we're going to form, guys. And I think Breeze, you're on the channel a lot, so I appreciate the question, man. I love it, and I'll do some research for you and find some places, and we'll start posting them so that everyone can go in and read. And maybe Giancarlo, you maybe have done some of this research, and maybe you have an idea of, and if not, we'll find it though. So
he meant food desert, not good desert.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So yeah, there's in Act 60 there are some initiatives towards farming and stuff like that that should definitely be researched.
Yeah,
but we'll put a link in the description after the live is done to the website for Puerto Rico. My best advice, if you can't read Spanish, there's a little tab on the top. You can convert everything in Spanish to English, and it should probably help you out.
Yeah,
trying to find that information. As to the dream you have, I think that's a good idea. We definitely need some more food sovereignty on the island. So that would really, really, really be great. And there's initiatives for all that type of stuff. And not only in the farming, but also in the real estate, in the lands for farms. So there's a lot of good stuff. All right.
Giancarlo, do you have any ideas on that? Did you find any good literature that you could share with us?
I would have to say you do have to do in-depth research when it comes down to it. But reaching out also to the people that are in that field are very helpful as well. Speaking with people at the mastermind, speaking with people at Ozworks, it's a huge benefit to be able to really speak to somebody that's hands-on and develop those relationships.
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate the question, and when we can't answer them, then I like to go research it and try and figure it out and get you an answer. So bear with us. I feel like I'm not qualified to maybe answer that question as well as I should be, but we'll fix that. I'll figure it out and point you in the right direction.
All right, so we got a couple more, and then we'll call it quits.
Oh, we're getting a lot of questions. I love it. This is like I just love the interaction.
You guys want to keep going? I would love more information regarding the move to buy in Puerto Rico, I'm dying to go back after 20 years. Well, Maria, like I said, we're going to put our email out so you can reach out to us there and kind of give us what your idea of a perfect investing scenario is, and we can try to help you get there. Here we go. Here's the next question. La ley 60 tiene 73 incentivos fiscales y 72 de ellos son existentes a todos cuidados de residencia en Puerto Rico. So this is Mariah telling us that there's 73 incentives and 72 of them exist. Resida es la finca. I would imagine when she said resida, that means the residents on the island. So
72 of the 73 are for local population. I mean, so I didn't know there are 73 incentives, and I didn't come to the island of Puerto Rico for any of the incentives, despite I love that they're there. And as I've learned about them, I've certainly been trying to use them where it makes sense. But I think that it's a shame that that the population doesn't know, and it isn't kind of readily available. Like there should be, like Breeze just asked you, there should be an easy place to point people to say, hey, go read this stuff, and it will tell you about everything. And that's part of what we're trying to do here on the channel, is to find this stuff out and put the word out. But that's amazing, you know, and oftentimes, because the one isn't available to locals, the whole pot gets kind of tainted, and people think poorly about it. But it is good to know that 72 of 73 are available to the island.
It's great. It's great. And Mariah just sent me the link to the website she uses, and she says that it could be turned into English.
Oh,
so
great.
I'll put that in the description shortly after we finish this live. So guys, we're coming up on an hour. If you have any final questions, now is the time for Robert or Giancarlo. Let's get them in. If not, then we're going to call it quits in the next 2 minutes. Let us know.
Man, that was so awesome, though. So Breeze asked the question. We struggle through the answer. And then she says, here it is, right? Like this is speaking it into existence. And that's the kind of community that we want to create, right? Like, so I love the way that just went down. That was so awesome. Thank you very much.
It's amazing.
So, guys, I think that's a great place for us to end it. And I love the interaction. Thank you guys so much for coming and spending some time with us on a Monday night. And we just are grateful to have you be a part of our community. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, we try to put out a lot of content about Puerto Rico. We believe that we put more stuff out about Puerto Rico, especially about these acts and investing in Puerto Rico, than anyone else on the planet. And so we would love for you to be a part of the community. And so hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, right? Like, so hit the like button. Thank you, Giancarlo, for coming on and spending your Monday night with us. And I can't wait to see your business plan. And again, like I'm super excited about using my Opportunity Zone fund that my wife and I have to invest in businesses like yours and others, right? Like, so I think we're going to make some small investments into a lot of businesses and hope somebody like you just knocks it out of the park for us, and we get to ride that wave. It'll be a really exciting time for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, thank you, Robbie, again. Also, I really appreciate being on here. I'm excited to make that happen. I appreciate all the nice comments that we had as well. You know, implementing better medical practices in here and getting urgent cares. That in itself, it means so much to me. I'm excited to really make that happen. I think it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's going to be beautiful too. I mean, I just love to hear about things like that happening for this island, right? Like, and it is going to be amazing. So can't wait to see what you're doing, and let's talk again soon. So keep in touch with us and let us know when you're coming to the island, and we'll we'll do this again if you're up for it. We'll have you back on as you continue to do the research and you get closer to making that move and getting your business started, and maybe we can even help drive some investment your way.
Appreciate that, Robbie.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us. Again, our email is TheFlipFlopFlipperPR@gmail.com. Email us all your questions. If you want to learn how to invest here on the island or need help with that, reach out to us and we're down to help. Again, Giancarlo, thank you so much for joining us. His contacts are in the description. Definitely reach out to him.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for those private pages and all that stuff. We'll be able to reach out and get to you guys soon enough.
Yeah, I think that's it, guys. It is really, this was a great conversation. Thank you again, Giancarlo. And yeah, that's it. That's amazing, guys. And I think we'll sign off here, and we'll see you next week on our Monday Night Live. Oh, one more thing. So we're looking for a great name for this Monday Night Live thing. So if you've got one that's better than Monday Night Live, put it in the comments for us, and we'll see if we can come up with something that's more catchy. But this is a lot of fun. We're enjoying doing this. We like this format. So we look forward to talking to you guys again. And God bless everybody.
And if we don't get to your emails real quick, just bear with us. It's only two of us trying to read all these emails. So
Yeah.
we're getting to everybody as fast as possible. We're trying to grow the team. And stay tuned to Friday. We're going to have a new deal flippers with an exciting new deal. So stay tuned.
Nice. All right, guys.